For those who have access to capital and the means, flipping houses continues to be a lucrative proposition for generating long-term wealth. While the process isn't as easy as many of the wildly popular home renovation shows would have you believe, each particular project presents its own set of unique challenges. In reality, the same can be said about the industry in general, especially if you look at how things have changed over the years. As far back as 2010, there was an abundance of single-family homes on the market to choose from. But once the renovations were completed, they could be challenging to sell. Today, most house flippers would tell you the exact opposite holds true. Of most concern today continues to be stubbornly high interest rates, but the conventional wisdom says they eventually have to come back down. Maybe not to COVID-era levels, but any reduction in rates would definitely free up capital and increase overall profitability. In general, overall sentiment for the fix and flip marketplace continues to remain high, at least according to a recent survey from private real estate lender, Lending One. Nearly 250 house flippers from all across the United States were surveyed, and the results were net positive. Nearly 90% plan to undertake at least one fix and flip project in 2025, and anywhere from 32 to 59% of respondents described market demand in their area as very strong. Regardless of the challenges and obstacles facing today's house flippers, perceived threats could actually be hidden opportunities. Earlier this year, Adam, the leading industry curator of land, property data and real estate analytics, released their annual year-end house flipping report for 2024. In all, nearly 300,000 single-family homes and condos were flipped. Gross profit margins for individual flips increased to $72,000, with a 30% return on investment when compared to original acquisition prices. And the average time to complete a flip was 162 days or about 5.5 months, a fairly typical time frame. The report showed plenty of geographical disparity, with the biggest decrease in profit margins found in the South and West. Where some may see threats to profitability, others see opportunity. In today's marketplace, which varies widely depending on location, there are several factors to consider. Whether you consider them a threat or an opportunity, here's an optimistic snapshot of where things stand at the moment. First and foremost, stubbornly high interest rates, currently hovering between 6.11% and 7%, are quite a change from the bygone era just a few short years ago. Despite the recent economic turmoil with the on-again, off-again tariffs, the Fed has been stoically reluctant to induce rate cuts, fearing the threat of stagflation. While the knee-jerk reaction to global tariffs is to see it as a threat to profitability, a deeper dive actually shows the fallout really plays right into the hands of the fix and flip industry. So the biggest competitor to house flippers are those new construction builders who produce mass housing. For new home builders, tariffs that stick would drastically increase the cost of softwood lumber and gypsum, since the United States imports about 70% of these products mostly from Canada and Mexico. Since fix and flip renovation projects typically don't require as much in the way of these new materials, this is not a threat at all, it's actually an opportunity to capitalize. Labor is yet another perceived threat that, honestly, shouldn't be too concerning for the fix and flip industry. Even though immigrants make up less than 20% of the total United States labor market, their presence in the building of new construction has been measured as high as 40%. Because most house flipping operations require considerably less in the way of labor, this is, again, another opportunity for fix and flippers to remain more competitive and profitable. In some geographic areas of the United States, there's a shortage of single-family homes to acquire for future projects. And whenever the market is tight, prices go up and the prospect of profitability goes down. But once again, this factor is more of an opportunity than a threat. The good news for fix and flippers is the inventory of desirable homes remains historically low, meaning houses that are successfully renovated for a profit are still in high demand. When prospecting, house flippers need to be savvier than ever in quantifying risk for particular projects, strategic in their design decisions, and unfailingly efficient in managing their projects, especially with flawless execution during the construction phase. While there are numerous shortcuts and intensive planning one can do to reduce the overall investment risk for a fix and flip prospect, there is nothing more important than flawless execution during the construction phase of the project. Full stop. But when it comes to practical advice on remaining profitable, below are some other strategic approaches that should help you remain in the black. When evaluating a potential fix and flip, it's wise to search for properties that are the most desirable to the most potential buyers in the area. Factors that influence this include the state of the local housing market, the desirability of a location, the price when compared to market average, a balanced bed and bath ratio, and the level of renovation required to remodel the property. To survive in today's marketplace of less profit margin, you need to become an expert at crunching the numbers, especially when it comes to calculating your project's potential return on investment. While many still strictly adhere to the tried and true 70% rule, beware, as this approach often incentivizes residential investors to acquire low-quality properties with much higher risk factors. You know, it's difficult to avoid having an emotional attachment to your fix and flip project, but honestly, it shouldn't come at the expense of profitability. A few years back, when the market was much more forgiving, a premium countertop could easily add value. But now it simply means, well, going overboard. So, stick to the basics. Focus the majority of your remodeling effort on kitchens and baths, enhanced garage capacity, open yard space, and good old-fashioned curb appeal. Once you've priced out, ordered, and received your construction materials and secured your subcontractors, it's a good time for a status check. So, conduct a running audit of your budget and timeline. If everything lines up as expected, just take it day by day. No shortcuts, no mistakes, and of course plenty of quality control as you progress through the remodel. Make sure your subcontractors are completing their tasks on time and on budget. The construction phase itself is, honestly, the most crucial step in remaining profitable on a fix and flip project. One of the key advantages of the fix and flip industry is that we're agile and opportunistic in nature and not really subject to the same threats as our primary competition of new home builders. Another piece of practical advice for remaining profitable is to ensure you have a solid network of contacts to rely upon. No house flipper can do everything on their own, and even the experts, well, they need a second opinion from time to time. Never let your personal pride get in the way of potential profitability, and the next time you hear of potential threats to the industry, dig a little deeper, because, in reality, a hidden opportunity could easily be staring you right in the face.